What's up, tribe? How you guys are doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review of Claws Season 2, Episode 2. Now look, this one of those episodes that it was okay, but the last 3 minutes, honey, if you didn't see nothing but the last 3 minutes of this damn episode, maybe 5, that thing had me laughing so hard I had to take a moment before I started doing this review. Now look, but let's get there. So the episode starts off. We see Desna Desna. Well, we know she's a smart woman. We know she is. Desna is reading Svetlana's the new boss. Remember, she wrote a book, and the book is probably some whatever. But Desna's reading it, right? So we see her reading the book, and then we go over to Jen's house. Jen done call her mama in to help her with the kids and stuff because her husband still ain't speaking to her. Of course, after last week when he saw that video and he thought it was some fresh video, he really ain't trying to hear nothing she has to say. But Desna comes over and Desna says, look, I need to talk to you about the house. And, she tells her, I don't want to do it, but she wants me to move into the house. And the house belongs to her. It doesn't belong to Uncle Daddy anymore. And she can do what she wants. And Jen is like, but Desna, you don't have to do it. Like, this is where my kid, like, they're in a good school district. I don't want them to leave. She was like, I don't care about nothing like this. But I also saw her shoot her sister in the head. I'm not telling her no. And so they decided they're going to all live there together. It looks, and honestly, that's what I was thinking last week when she said it. And Desna was like, I'm not really trying to do that. I was like, well, that house is big enough for all y'all to really live there. So her and Dean are going to move in. And Polly is going to move into Desna's house. So then we see the Huskers having a little powwow in the parking lot. And they are like, look, we got to figure something out. This is not cool. Like, I ain't trying to answer to no woman. Uncle Daddy is like, look how far, because they were coming out of, a pawn shop? I'm not sure. But Uncle Daddy said, we have sunk low. Look at us riding around in a Subaru station wagon like some indigo girls. And they decide that they're going to get Roller to plant a bug in the house so they could do some reconnaissance. Because remember, Roller's living in the house now because of the shotgun wedding. He's living with his wife. Then we are at the salon and we see Polly with her dancers. Because remember, she putting together her male review for the new strip club. What are they calling it? Hammer and Pickle? I think they're changing the name of Shishi's to Hammer and Pickle. But Anne sees that Virginia, she peeps that Virginia's pregnant. And so she talks to her, one-on-one. But she was like, have you told Desna about this shit? And she's like, why we gotta tell Desna? Now, the thing in this scene that I thought was interesting, and y'all need to peep this, because I saw a little foreshadowing. Because she was like, do we have to tell Desna everything? Like, have you, like, don't you get tired of having to tell Desna everything? And Anne was like, yeah. Because, Desna's the reason why me and my girl not together anymore. And I was like, ooh. So we seeing our first little glimpse of something there. Might come back, might not. Might be a big deal, might not be nothing. But Anne was like, yeah, but you still need to tell Desna that you're pregnant by her brother. And she was like, man, I ain't really trying to deal with Desna. She was like, well, Desna told you not to mess with her brother. Like, you did it, and you got to deal with it. So she said she'll tell her, Anne's like, all right, let her know. So in the meantime, Desna's doing a tour of the clinic with Svetlana. And Svetlana is like, look, we trying to open up some more clinics. We need to get up the foot traffic. We need to build up business here. You figure out how it needs to be done. Desna's like, but we do good business. Like, what are you talking about? We meet all of our goals. Svetlana was like, it ain't enough. You might meet the goals you had, but you got bigger goals. So she goes back to the girls, and they're trying to powwow and brainstorm on what they can do to try to get business up. And they come up with, I don't remember who it was. Somebody came up with the idea of a commercial, and Desna was like, are you dumb? Like, we can't do a commercial for an illegal activity. But I'm sorry, y'all. But in the midst of them, she was like a billboard. You know, they coming up with these, they shooting out all these different ideas. But in the midst of this, Virginia blurts out, I'm pregnant. And it's Dean's. Honey, Jen was like, run. Run. Virginia got to running. Desna got to chasing her. She done chased her through the parking lot, over the car. The girl almost got hit by a car. And Desna tried to choke her. Desna was actually choking her. She was like, I told you to do one thing. Like, I have had your back. I've been looking out for you all this time. I told you to do one thing. Stay away from my brother. And you can't do the one thing I asked you to do. And Virginia was like, look, it happened. I'm sorry. She was like, you told me you were on the pill. She was like, they were swelling up my feet. I couldn't wear my pumps. She was like, what about condoms? She said, we ran out. We ran out. And so she said, but I love Dean. Like, I love him. Y'all know Desna ain't trying to hear that shit. She don't care about her loving Dean. So she goes to try to talk to Dean. Dean's packing up the house, and she tries to talk to Dean about it. And essentially, Dean told her, he was like, this don't have nothing to do with you. This not your business. And she was like, but Dean, we always tell each other everything. Dean was like, no, you're not. You ain't telling me about what's going on with the Russians. Because, of course, Virginia's telling him stuff. So he knows something. He just doesn't know all the details. And Desmond's like, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's just, I work for instead of working for Uncle Daddy, I work for the Russians now. It's no big deal. But she tries to go back to Dean. Dean was like, look, I know Virginia told you about the baby. We got it covered. Oh, Virginia told Desna that they were going to the abortion clinic. And Desna was like, well, what about Dean? She was like, Dean made the appointment. So Dean know what's up. Dean's not crazy. He knows what's up. And Desna tried to ask him. She was like, do you think is it genetic? Like, are you worried, like, about the autism, because that it doesn't necessarily mean the baby will have autism. And Dean was like, no, I know that. That's not what it is. He was like, we just not ready to have a kid. Like, we just ain't ready to have a baby. And then he essentially told Desna to mind her damn business. Like, this don't have nothing to do with you. Mind your business. So we see Jen go and talk to the dude. I forget his name, but the Jewish guy that she had an affair with last season. She went to go talk to him, and I think essentially she went to go talk to him and just kind of let him know that she was trying to work things out with her husband, and that, nothing was going on. They would just be friends. And he was like, all right, well, remember that square dancing contest we were going to enter? It's Friday. Like, we're friends now. Why, we can do it. And somehow he talks her into it, and she gets excited about doing the contest with him, and she agrees to do it with him or whatever. Then we see Roller with his wife, girl. They having sex, and he is so uninterested. He is just like, are we done yet? Are we done yet? Are we done yet? And when they're done and she goes to go take care of the baby, that's when he get ready to go plant the bug. He goes to go plant the bug in the house. Desna is at the house talking to Svetlana about the commercial. Oh, dang, I knew I skipped something. Desna fell asleep on the couch, and she woke up during some corny teeth commercial for a dentist, and she was like, that's it. We're going to do the commercial. And so, of course, when she brought it back to the girls, they were like, didn't we say that? She was like, no, but I have a good idea. Like, I have a way that we're going to come, an angle we're going to use to sell it. So she's telling Svetlana about her idea for a commercial, and Svetlana was like, I don't know about this. Like, but I trust you. Make it work. Because if it don't work, you already know there's consequences. But okay. And so they go to open the door, and Roller's in there. He trying to plant the bug. Now, they don't see what he's doing, but she pulls a gun on him. She was like, look, don't you come down here without being invited. And then she tells him, let me talk to you. And she asked him, she was like, look, what you want to do in this? What do you want to do in this organization? And Roller was like, look, I've always been good with numbers. Like, I was running things under Uncle Daddy. I was in charge of making sure the money got washed, and I was good at it, And she was like, okay, all right, I'm going to give you a chance. So she hooks him up with the dude, I forget the dude's name, but the dude that was trying to kill, kill him last year, running through the deserted amusement park. And at first, dude was like, nah, I ain't working with him. I ain't teaching him shit. I ain't showing him nothing, no. And she was like, look, I know that y'all were enemies. Y'all were trying to kill each other 2 months ago, but we're all family now. and he's a part of the family, and we're gonna go ahead and show him what's up. So he was like, all right, take your clothes off. He was like, I ain't like my uncle daddy. Like, we ain't about to do nothing. This ain't about to be no playtime between the two of us. But we'll come back to that. We'll get back to that. But that's all we see. We see him taking his clothes off, and then they going into another room. Then we get to Desna. I'm sorry, Dean, Virginia, and Annie going to the abortion clinic, and it was funny but not funny because they get out the car and they putting on bulletproof vests and earphones and headgear and like all of this stuff. And at first I was like, where are they going? And to go to the abortion clinic because there was so many protesters out front they could barely get through the crowd. But you know what? Dean put their asses in their place. Dean was like, you know what? Me and my sister were unwanted kids. And we moved from foster care to foster care. We were abused. We were on food stamps. Nobody loved us. He was like, y'all don't care nothing about the baby once it get here. All y'all care about is the unborn child. But once the baby gets here, y'all don't care nothing about it. And of course, the crowd was quiet for a minute. And then they went right back to hollering and screaming at him, but his point is valid, right? So they're going to the abortion clinic, and Virginia's laying there, and of course she looks scared, and Dean is looking real nervous or what have you. And Dean says, are you okay? He checks on her. He said, look, I'm going to go across the street and get some pencils, get some art supplies, get some pencils. And she was like, okay, Dean, be careful. And she talks to Annie, and she says, I'm just not sure about this. What if this is the next Obama? And of course, Annie's like, she said, what about that guy that had all those dreams? Annie was like, Martin Luther King? She said, yeah. And he's like, you're good. You're not carrying him. You're good. And she was like, you sure? So it was a good they started laughing, and it kind of broke the ice a little bit. And then they do sort of like this Brady Bunch kind of thing where they have because Virginia says, well, what are they saying about me at the salon? So they have all these different women giving all their different opinions about abortion. And they do it like a Brady Bunch thing where the squares slide in. And of course they had everything from don't do it to a woman has a right to choose to they were stupid to why didn't they use a condom to what about adoption? Like they went through the whole gamut of what you hear when it comes to abortion, right? All the different arguments for or against. And then Annie tells her story. She said, I got pregnant when I was young, and I didn't want the baby. But my parents made me keep it. And once I had the baby, I started kind of liking it and getting attached. And then one day, the baby was gone. And my parents sent the baby to go live with relatives in California. Never saw the baby again. And so you're just like, well, damn. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's deep, But then, so her and Polly her and Ann have a moment. Virginia and Ann have a moment. And then Dean comes back in after the procedure. She actually has the procedure, or at least we think she did. Because I still didn't actually see her have the procedure. But we think she did actually have the procedure. Dean comes in with one of those little candy rings you used to get when you were a kid. And he was like, I lied. I didn't go get pencils. I'm going to get you this. And when it was a ring, I knew what he was getting ready to do. And she was like, oh, thank you, Dean. Oh, that's so sweet. And Dean gets down on one knee, and he's like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? And he's like, does your sister know? Your sister know you're doing this? And he said, yeah, she said it was okay. Remember last year when all that stuff was going on down in Florida, she had the gun to her head. Was it Miami where they went and she had the gun to her head? Yeah, she said it was okay. She had a gun to her head. But y'all know, in Dean's mind, the external circumstances don't matter. She said it was cool. So Desna's getting the commercial together. Jen's gonna write the script. Polly's gonna be the assistant director. Like everybody's is gonna play their part, and they're gonna get the doctor from the clinic. And he's like, I can't do this. Like, first of all, he was like, I can't do a commercial. This is illegal. And she was like, no, what we're doing is illegal, but the clinic itself is legal. That's why we've been getting away with it. And all we're doing is advertising what we can do legally. And legally, this is what we can do. And so nobody needs to know about all the other stuff that's going on, but we're not doing anything illegal by advertising. We see Jen's mother again at the salon. she's already made a couple of little racial slurs, little racial. She ain't come right out and said nothing serious like the N word, but she's made like she keep calling Desma dashiki, and you know how people do. And then she helped her mother. Her mother helped her make her outfit for the square dancing competition and had Confederate flags all over it. And she told Desna, she said something about monkey bars, and Desna was like, "Why they gotta be monkeys?" And she was like, "Oh, you people are so sensitive," like those types of comments. Desna was like, "You people," you know. But so anyway, so they make this commercial, y'all. This commercial, look. The commercial itself was hilarious. That whole scene, because it was a disaster. I mean, the doctor couldn't get his lines right. The script was crazy because Jen wrote the script in 20 minutes. They had the dancers were there. They were there helping. They were like, the lighting and all that other stuff. It was hard. And then the doctor just couldn't get his lines. I mean, it was like cut, 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 cut. Like it was a mess. A mess. Desna was like, "Look, I need 5 minutes. I just need to think. Give me a minute." And so the dancer came over, the one they call Double XL, because he got such a big piece of equipment. And Desna says, "I got an idea." Desna turned the commercial into a video with Good Vibrations by the Funky Bunch. You know who I'm talking about. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. And got the male dancers in some hot pants doing their little thing, dancing and twerking and doing flips and all kinds of stuff. And the doctor, he don't have to say nothing. He's just walking around. He taking money out the vending machine. I mean, out the ATM. He throwing, pills at the screen. And then I think at the end he finally says something like, "Feel the pain," or something like that, right? And it ends up going viral. And next thing you know, they got a line around the block, right? So Desmond's feeling good. Svetlana is happy about it. Excuse me. And then we see Uncle Daddy and Jen's husband. They're getting a little impatient, waiting for Rolla and for him to plant this bug. They're like, "What's he doing in there? Like, what's going on?" They done come up with this plan. They're gonna break into the house. The two of them, they get in there though. They get in the house. I mean, they tried. Uncle Daddy can't get over the fence, and they had to pull him over the fence. But they get in the house. They get to the house. They get to the balcony. They look in. They see Rolla is having a massage. That's what dude was like, "Take your clothes off," about, because they're having one of them, where they beat you on the back with the palm and all that other stuff. So Uncle Daddy's like, he played us. Like, he ain't in there trying to get no intel. He in there living a good life. Next thing, okay, so y'all gotta follow me, because a whole lot of stuff. This is where everything, well, there was a little moment with Desna and Virginia where she was trying to apologize. She was like, "I'm sorry I was a little hard on you, but Dean has potential, but you do too, and I just hate to see you guys doing this. You're too young for this, da 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 da." And then Desna, that's when Virginia tells Desna that they're married. I mean, they're engaged. So Desna tries to kill all over again. Anyway, it was funny. It was cute. All right, here's where the comedy of errors gets started. Jen goes to the do-si-do contest, and she ends up freaking out because every guy she sees her husband's face instead of who the guy really is, right? And she ends up running out of the contest, and they go chasing after her, like, "What's going on? What's wrong?" They're all in the van. They're all in Ann's van. They show up at Uncle Daddy's house. Now, Uncle Daddy is having a meeting. He met up with Rolla, and Rolla was like, "Look, I ain't sell nobody out. I was getting intel the whole time." He told Uncle Daddy, "Look, they're trying to open up 20 new clinics by the end of the year, and they're not going to use our connect. They're going to use their own connect through Columbia." So Uncle Daddy calls a meeting with their connect. Remember, their connect is Desna's boyfriend. Let's see if we all stay together, right? I'm sorry, y'all, forgot another very important part before I get to that. Jen's mother showed up at the house with a casserole. She been talking about these Ritz cracker casseroles the whole episode. She shows up with one of her Ritz cracker casseroles, and Jen's husband answers the door. He's like, what do you want? Why you here? She was like, you know why I'm here. We need to talk about my daughter. So while he's eating his little Ritz cracker casserole, she's like, look, you and my daughter really need to work this out. My daughter's a little bit different. She's a little sometimes hard to deal with, but she means well. And you see, he ain't really trying to hear what her mother's saying. She talking and he just like, whatever. I ain't taking her back, whatever. And that's where that scene cuts out. Okay, it was important that I told you that. That's why I had to go back to it. So in the backyard, Desna's boyfriend, aka the Connect, is back there with Rolla and Uncle Daddy. Jen shows up. Jen's banging at the door. Like, let me in, because she kept seeing her husband. She's like, I really need to talk to him. I really need to make this work. Like, that's who I want to be with. That's where I want to be. And I'm going to make him take me back. Like, she didn't say all that, but that was what I took from her showing up like that and just being so desperate to talk to him. So when you first see her roll up, it's like, oh, shit. And you don't see, you see that they're in Ann's van, but you don't see everybody else with her at first. You just see her run out of the van. Rolla comes to the door. Rolla's like, what is wrong with you? What do you want? Because they see her knocking at the front door through the security camera. She's like, I keep forgetting her husband's name, but she was like, where is he? He was like, he's not feeling too good. Your mother bought some food by, and, it made her sick. So she pushes past Rolla. Rolla's yelling after her, talking about something. Tell your mama to work on her, cooking skills, blah, blah, blah. So she runs up the stairs, opens the door. Her mama is in there giving her husband head. Honey, she goes after her mama, and she commences to try to whip her mother's ass. So while this is going on inside, Desna is in the van outside calling her boyfriend saying, hey, you up for some dinner tonight? I should be finished doing what I'm doing now, and, I owe you a rain check. He's in the backyard at the pool answering her phone calls going, yeah, that sounds good. I think I can make that happen. While they're on the phone, they hear the commotion coming from the fight going on in the house. Desna's like, whoa, wait a minute, I gotta call you back. So Desna, Annie, Polly, all of them run in the house to hear what's going on. They can hear that there's a commotion. They run in to hear what's going on. They run upstairs. They see Jen, her mother, and her husband all tussling. The husband's trying to break it up. The two of them are tussling. So, of course, Desna and Polly and them jump in to try to break it up and figure what's going on. Well, her mother ends up punching Desna. When you in a fight, you don't know who's who and what's what. I don't think she consciously meant to hit Desna, although I'm sure she wasn't upset she did. So, Desna went after her ass. So now you got a full-grown brawl going on. Uncle Daddy's boyfriend runs in with his bondage outfit on, and it is hilarious, y'all. They are rolling around on the floor. They are fighting. They are kicking and all kinds of stuff. Then Uncle Daddy and Rolla come in there to break it up. Like, it is a mess now. Somewhere in the midst, the doctor must have rolled out. Somewhere in that mix. Because what I thought was going to happen was, I thought Desmond was going to come out and see his car. Because she probably didn't notice whether his car was there or not when they first pulled up, because it was real quick. But I thought coming out the house, she was going to see his car. But he either left or they just didn't think to put that in the script or whatever. We know that she doesn't see him, though. They end up leaving out the house. They end up coming out looking worse for wear. It's weave all over. She carrying weave in her hand. Jen got weave in her hand. And, she's just like, I can't believe she did that. She was like, I know she was never the best mother in the world, but why would she do that to me? Like, she is in tears. She's really breaking down. Like, why would she do that to me? Why would she do that to me? And that's where the episode ends. But, honey, if y'all could have seen that, I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't watch no other part of that, watch the commercial and watch the last 5 minutes. It is hilarious. Anyway, drop it in them comments. Tell me what y'all think. Peace.